A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another fighting fantasy playthrough, this time Phantoms of Fear. Now, this book is very near and dear to my heart as this was the very first fighting fantasy game book I ever got for my 10th birthday. Kind of got me into fantasy. Some little bit different things in this one. We have skill, stamina, luck. We also have power now. And the power is primarily there to cast spells and to do tests when you are in the dream world. So let's just roll up our character stats. My skill, a respectable 11. My stamina, wow, 16, not good. My luck is 8. And my power, ooh, that is not good, is 9. I have 10 provisions. Some pretty low rolling there, so we shall see. Okay, now the spells I can cast in this game: Protect, Illusion, Weaken, Levitation, Finding, and Fire. And every time you cast a spell, your power will go down by 1 point. I have a sword, leather armor, a backpack, and I decided to take a potion of luck with me. Okay, so let's jump straight in. All right. You wake suddenly, shivering despite the warm midsummer night air. You're grateful to see familiar walls and trappings of your hut. You know that you are secure, surrounded by the rest of your tribe, and deep in Affin Forest. The dream from which you woke momentarily escapes you. What was it? Then memory floods in on you. It was a dream of ordinary everyday life in your village. Elves were out hunting, tilling the ground, collecting roots for medicine and food, cooking and repairing huts. You could not see yourself in the dream, but you were surveying the scene. Suddenly a voice spoke, a voice which simultaneously made everyone look up from their work and frightened you. It took a moment to realize why it filled you with fear. It was your own voice. But what words are these you are speaking? Let me just... No, there we go. Let's go back to that. I must leave you for a while, you said to your fellow elves. May the gods of the forest protect you while I am gone. The demon prince Ishtra is just beginning to gather a vast force of damned, chaotic, and evil creatures beneath our forest. He plans to overrun the entire world, starting with the wood elves. He rules over his army so cruel that even his foul minions would rebel if they could, but Ishtra holds them in his sway by magical power. Thus, he must be overcome. If his sway is broken, his army will have no organization and power. They will be reduced to civil war between themselves. His army is not yet large, so I must go now to face him, while there is still a chance of penetrating his defenses. May I fare well, and fare you all well until I return, if I return. Otherwise, we are to meet again in Tir Nar Og, the island realm of the Son of the Sea, the land of youth, where all must go when their time comes. At this point, you woke up. You now take stock of the dream. You know full well that it is a message from your gods, yet never before have they chosen to communicate by having you speak their words. You realize this must be their way of impressing upon you the urgency of the task and the fact that you and only you have been chosen for this mission. But the idea terrifies you. As a demon prince, Ishtra cannot be killed by any weapon of any earthly race. Even the most magical sword of the high elves would not strike him down. So what can your lesser powers do against him? Nevertheless, you have been commanded to go, and you put your faith in the gods. They would not so command you if there was no hope. You decide to go back to sleep and see if you can dream a dream that will give you more information about the noble and awesome task facing you. Turn to 1. Again, the older art is just phenomenal in these fighting fantasy books. In your dream, you walk through Affin Forest, yet it is both familiar and unfamiliar. The trees seem more alive, even more than they normally appear to your trained wood elf senses. The tiny noises of twigs and shrubs seem magnified. A vivid force plays over the surface of the trunks, being sustained by the vibrant, slow earth below and spreading to the smallest shoot on the topmost branch. Even while you dream, you are aware that this is a vision of the life force which your people call Mela. It gives all things life, and a minute fragment of it is your power to dream and make magic. You do not recognize this particular part of the forest you are in. Perhaps it exists only in your dream, but perhaps it has a real counterpart. Afan Forest is vast, but only a small remnant of the one forest of old, when the 3 continents of Titan were unified. In your dream, branches bend down from the trees and usher you onwards along a trail which opens up in front of you. You are content to be following the trail, but you also detect urgency in the prodding of the branches. Where are the trees leading you? As soon as the question is formed in your mind, it is answered. The trees stop pushing you onwards, and you find yourself at the meeting of 3 ways. One way is the trail you've been following. The other 2 extend in different directions, forking like an angle of a serpent's tongue. Wow. The trees have stopped urging you, so this is where they were guiding you. In your dream, you know that the crossroads is more than a meeting of 3 ways. The path behind you symbolizes your past life, and now with your heart beating fast and your mind strangely calm, you have a choice of 2 ways onward. But where do they lead? At the moment, they both look like greensward tracks through a still forest. Then you notice, for the first time, it has only just appeared, a statue standing on the exact spot where the 3 ways meet. She is a beautiful goddess, but in human form, and you know neither her name nor her function. She is completely impassive. Her arms are folded across her chest, and billowing robes shroud her body. Though made of stone, her eyes seem to bore into your mind and read your thoughts. Your thoughts, of course, are of which way you should turn at this junction. The statue's arms unfold, and a small black dog, which she was cradling in her arms and had been hidden among her full sleeves, leaps down and runs yelping past you and away through the trees behind you. But you know that whatever the meaning of this, the dog is not showing you your path, and you remain watching the statue. Her arms continue to unfold so slowly that it seems to take eternity, like this paragraph, or like this chapter. And meanwhile, her robes take on the glow of a pale but brilliant blue, and her face unlocks gently into an enigmatic smile. Finally, her arms are simply pointing down each of the routes between which you have to choose. You look down the first one to your left. Instead of the plain forest path, lacking significant features which you have seen before, there is now a highway that seems contrary even to your dream expectations, to open up the more distance it gets. The end, if there is an end, is indefinite, but such a sense of health and well-being issues from it that your heart is warmed, and the trees, as they recede into the distance, lose many of their tree-like features and take on the essence of vitality. Down the other path, however, the trees and woodland shrubs become more and more grotesque until they are empty shells, not truly alive, but sustained by some fell force which exudes through the malignant power that your nostrils are assailed by the rotten odour of it. And as soon as your mind registers the full horror of the putrescence in your dream, you see its source. The wide area of the forest has collapsed into a pit, whose bottom you cannot see, but whatever is there, deep underground, is causing the blight of the forest, your forest. You now see that the statue bears in either hand duplicates of your trusty sword Talessa. The beautiful goddess fades into invisibility, leaving the last glimpses of her enigmatic smile, but letting the 2 swords fall to stick quivering in the turf. Will you take up the one to your left and proceed towards the hearth and health of the forest, or will you take up the one to your right and investigate what is causing your precious forest to suffer? Okay, this is an interesting choice. I know no good is going to come from it, but I need to find out why the forest is suffering. Remember, I am in the dream world. 67. As you walk up the path, the trees change from the peaceful, slow creatures that you know and love. Roots bulge out of the ground, even as you pass and snake towards... Roots bulge out of the ground even as you pass and snake towards your ankles. Branches brush your cheeks and not in gentle recognition of the kindred spirit. There are no leaves on these trees except for a few rotten remnants which ooze thick resin and flick it at you. It burns when it lands on some exposed parts of your skin. But worse than all this, and worse than the hideous forms of these warped trees, there is a smell which the pit exudes. The closer you get to it, the more your senses scream that it is wrong, wrong, wrong. Okay, I guess it's wrong. That part of you which remains conscious even while you sleep is aware that you are tossing and turning on your pallet and are close to waking up in order to avoid the foul nightmare. Will you try to continue with the dream or choose to wake up? Continue with the dream. $3.95. If your power score is 14 or more, it is not. It is 9. $3.54. You are unable to continue with the dream. It is too ghastly for you to bear. You wake up with the silent scream of the tortured trees resounding in your mind. It will be a while before you are free from the lingering trace of the vile odor. Weak-willed idiot. That's me. When you are fully awake, you know what you must do. Somewhere in the forest is an area of foul blight which marks the entrance to Ishtra's underground stronghold. You must find it, enter the pit, seek out Ishtra, and do battle with him. Sounds easy. This will be an immense task. No, it sounds easy. A quest which, whether you succeed or fail, the wood elves will sing about as long as they have voices to sing. Well, that's morbid. It is a particularly daring undertaking for a wood elf of your kind. Do not normally stray more than half a day's journey from your home. You call a council of the tribal elders and explain your task. They protest that the mission is impossible, but you do not allow such doubts to enter your mind. You tell them that you must go, and you make arrangements for the protection of the tribe during your absence. After embracing your closest friends, and many seem to be such friends under the circumstances, you prepare to leave. All you need is your sword, Talessa, and a backpack. You do not take any provisions. Okay, so I have no provisions. Usually you start with 10. That's disappointing. Because as a wood elf, you are confident in finding enough to eat as long as you're in the forest. Which way would you like to go? Lake Necros lies not far to the east, so you must choose between heading roughly north, south, or west. I'm not going to decide. I'm going to let the dice decide. 1, 2, north. 3, 4, south. 5, 6, west. 1, 2, I head north. Without a backwards glance, you set off north. There are few true paths this deep in the forest, but even when the sun is not visible, there are plenty of signs to show a wood elf which way is which. Although you often have to digress to avoid some obstacle or other, you keep to a generally northerly direction. After half a day's journeying, it is time to rest and eat. You look for berries while you continue walking, but there are not many. The presence of more light off to your left tells you that there is a glade there, and you think it will have shrubs such as bilberry growing in it. Will you carry on northwards or turn towards the glade? I'll go to the glade. This is a trap. I know these books. Sure enough, there are bilberries in the glade. You find edible toadstools, wild parsnips, and a fern called skunk bearer's tongue, which elves value as both nutritious and refreshing. There is only just enough food to make a single meal for you, however. It seems that the animals have already removed much of it, more than they could eat, you think. It looks as if they've been storing food, which is unusual for this time of year. It occurs to you that they probably know instinctively that some peril is nearby and are preparing for it. After your meal, you decide to rest against the log. Will you stay awake or let yourself drift into the dream world? I'm going back in the dream world because I fucked up last time. 203. In your dream, you visit an unfamiliar place. There is a sandy arena spotted with blood in which two heroes are battling to the death. The crowd roars in appreciation, and the whole show is overseen by a cruel-looking man dressed in rich clothes. The appearance of these humans and humanoids is strange to you. You hear the richly garbed man speak to his neighbour. Whoever survives the arena of death will be my champion. I'll have the last laugh at that brother of mine. That's a reference to Lord Carnus and Baron Succumvit, Death Trap Dungeon, and Trial of Champions, 2 of the best fighting fantasy game books ever. I love that. You wonder what this means? Is it an illusion or a vision of a distant land? The harsh sun, which bakes the dream arena, is suddenly blotted out by a vast dragon. But this is a reflection of your dream, in your dream, of the shadow cast by the giant blood hawk, which is swooping down on your sleeping body. The pain of its talons ripping your thighs jerks you back to wakefulness. Deduct 1 skill, down to 10, and 2 stamina, down to 14. By the time you've drawn your sword, it is swooping down on you again. You have no time to cast a spell. Turn to 29 to fight the monster. Okay. Even while you're steadying yourself to meet the Bloodhawk's diving attack, the thought passes through your mind that it is far from its usual open habitat. Could it be a spy sent by Istra? There is no more time for thinking, only doing. So, alright. Just going to put this down for a second. Giant Bloodhawk. Skill 7, stamina 12. Okay. Skill 7, stamina 12. Let's fight the giant Bloodhawk. I have a skill of 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 7, 14. First blood. 10, 20, 7, 11, 10, 16. Not even close. Okay. 15, all right. 10, 17, 7. Okay. 18, and dead. Okay. If you win, you leave the clearing and continue north. 3, 3, 2. As you proceed northwards, you see more and more evidence that the woodland creatures are preparing for Ishtra's imminent invasion. It is not just that they've been gathering much of the available food. You also notice that their behavior patterns are different. There are fewer animals than usual, as if many have already fled. Normally, timid creatures snarl at you from bushes. Birds twitter in fright from the topmost branches. What are we looking here? You begin to regret not bringing any provisions from home, especially since it's likely that the closer you get to Ishtra's pit, the more of the forest animals will have eaten or gathered the available food. You always knew that you would need to carry food when you were underground, but it now seems sensible to take the time to gather provisions for your whole journey, both overground and underground. The next stage of your northward journey will be found by turning to 347. Before you turn there, however, remember that paragraph number and turn to 50. So, okay. 347. As you search for provisions, you may well have to fight some forest creatures, either because you tried to deprive it of some food or simply because it is aggressive. Roll 1 die to find out what creature you fight, if any. Alright. So I'm going to come up against a moose. Skill 6, stamina 12. If you do not have to fight any opponent or when you have won, okay? So I'm depriving a moose of its meal and it's pissed off at me. Skill 6, stamina 12. Okay. All right. 10, 21, can't win. 10, 16, 16, can't win. Okay, skill 10, 15, 6, 11, nope. 18. Nope. Okay, 18. 12 and 18. And so I just beat up a moose, stole all his food. Okay, if you don't have to fight, or when you one roll 2 dice, this is the total meals worth of provisions you are able to find. I found 8 provisions for 8 meals. Each time I eat a meal, I can get back 4 stamina. Okay, and then I go to 347. The route you are following takes you past a death dripper. The sensitive roots of this tall tree-like plant detect vibrations caused by any creature's footsteps, and the plant immediately drips a fast-acting poison from its sickly yellow flowers. Test your luck. I have a luck of 8, and I rolled a 10. So I failed my luck test. 194. Some of the glutinous poison splashes on your hand. As soon as you realize where this drop came from, you know that you have only a few seconds to live. Unless you hack off your arm with your sword, at any rate, your adventure is over. And that is Phantoms of Fear. Now, as I said, this was the first fighting fantasy game book I ever got. I have never beaten it in 30 plus years of trying to play this piece of shit. I kid, it's not a piece of shit. I love this fucking book. But this copy in particular has a very special place in my heart. When my mother passed away in 2008, I flew back from South Korea to Australia in order to help my father for a little bit and attend the funeral. And on the day of the funeral, which so happened to be my 30th birthday, a friend that had, a very close friend of the family that had come up from, I believe, South Australia, who was one of my very close friends when I was in elementary school and high school. We were just walking Katoomba, talking about Mum, and we passed a secondhand bookstore, Mr. Pickwick's, and this book was in the window. This was the very first fighting fantasy game book that I was given, as I said at the beginning of the video, when I was 10 years old for my birthday. And this was the book that actually got me into fantasy. This was the book that started everything. I spent all of my pocket money on these fighting fantasy game books. Then I started to get into the Dragonlance novels and Forgotten Realms and Dungeons and Dragons, and that led me to other tabletop role-playing games, and then that led me to Conan, which led me to H.P. Lovecraft. I wouldn't be the uber fucking nerd that I am today without this. Absolutely love the playthrough, even if I died because my luck was shit, but that's the nature of the beast when you're playing a dice rolling game. There you have it. I'm going to show you some of the pictures in this book, however. You have puzzles, some fantastic art. This is some of the best fantasy art in the Fighting Fantasy series. And I believe there is one of the Demon Prince Ishtar in here somewhere. There's a shrine. I mean, it's just gorgeous. Just gorgeous art. So, that was Phantoms of Fear. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Hit the bell to be notified when I upload videos. It's a bit slow going. I've got a lot kind of going on at the moment, even though I am on vacation. So, yeah, I'll try to get some more videos out. A couple of book reviews coming up. things like that. I got a few more Fighting Fantasy books to go through, including Steve Jackson's Sorcery series, which was 4 books in a row, and your character progresses through them, and it tells one long campaign story. I really want to get to that. Trial of Champions, which was referenced here in my dream just before the Bloodhawk attacked me. So yeah, there's stuff coming up. I've got some Marvel Champions coming as well, the new Mutant Genesis campaign, things like that. Just got to get back into the flow of things while I have time now that I'm on vacation until March. So until then, please everyone stay safe, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. And I just realized on the cover, all of these monsters are his boogers. That's cool. Bye.